You know, human nature is a greedy, resentful, self-entitled, covetous bitch. I've arrived at that conclusion. We're going to make this sure that is on mute. It is. We're live. Welcome to Uncle Vigilante. And if you can't tell, I have changed my profession from being your favorite uncle to being your favorite judge. Because yes, this is the first of many shitcoin trials where we are going to invite guests on who represent projects or coins. And instead of, just having them on to talk about it and get them all excited and later to be accused of being a shitcoin shiller, I decided, you know what? I'm going to figure out what is a shitcoin. And then I'm going to ask all of the tough questions. So we're going to determine together. Yeah, not just me. I am prosecutor and judge, but I am not the only jury member. I'm going to be part of the jury, but you listening in are going to be part of the jury too, because I'm going to have the defendant, the bailiff will bring him in pretty soon. I'm going to have the bailiff bring him in. We're going to put him in the box and we're going to start asking some tough questions. And the defendant is going to have to do what a defendant does and defend his or her honor or zur honor. No, probably not that, not the latter. But I am then going to open it up after I am done with all of my questions. I am then going to open it up to the real jury, which is you good people. Yeah, those of you in the chat. I'm going to drop a Zoom link. And if you have a face fit for radio, you can call in. We'll make sure you can do that. You don't have to turn on your video. Or if you're just handsome or gorgeous, we'd love to see your face. And you'll be able to ask the difficult questions too. But the reason why I opened it up with human nature is a greedy, resentful, self-entitled, covetous bitch is that it's kind of our nature to just want what others have. And man, it kind of sucks when you're newbies like us. I'm just in the game since January. And as you know, I don't know shit, but I am curious and I'm willing to learn. And so this whole channel has been nothing more than a documentary of me trying to figure things out in this crypto ecosystem. What I have learned is that there are a lot of OGs, that's old guard, people who've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, threw the bumpy ride up. That's called cryptocurrency. They're the ones that may have been around since 2009. Certainly 2010, when our Lord and Savior, peace be upon him, Jeff Berwick, started promoting Bitcoin at $2. And there's been lots more who went through the halvings, the 2013 halving, the 2017 halving. Now we're in the 2021 phase. And so we, quite frankly, don't know where the hell we are. Are we in a bear market, a bull market, a fake out? We don't know. We're all sitting here, but we do covet is the riches of others. We all want to get rich quick. So we want to find that perfect coin. And guess what? There are 10,000 coins now in the ecosystem. And hear this stat, and this may be generous, but 99% of them are going to end up going to zero. So that's why it is imperative that I don't care how sexy a white paper is. I don't care what the story is, how cool the meme is. There are a lot of questions that you can ask to find an investable coin. And we're going to try to do that because to the extent that I, with my gold blockchain, with a gold Bitcoin on it, in my white wig, if I can help just one person not lose all of their savings because they bet on a shitcoin, then I will consider it a job well done. So with that as a preview, I would like the bailiff to please bring in Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman, would you account for yourself? Let us know your name and who do you represent?
All right, Your Honor, my name is Mr. Freeman, and I'm here on behalf of the Epicenter DAO.
Epicenter DAO. Now, I do have one curious question. When I put out my challenge that anybody who was head of a project or part of a project wanted to come and defend themselves, knowing that I was going to declare you by default a shitcoin, and then you'd have to work your way out of it. What made you want to come on and take on the Uncle Vigilante shitcoin challenge?
Because the merits stand for themselves. And I'm confident that whatever scrutiny you want to subject it to, it will not be found wanting. And then your audience will discover what it has to offer for them in whatever they're trying to achieve in their portfolio.
I like that. Well, let me tell you one thing that caught my attention, and I know you're going to go into this, but it's the Epicenter principles. Now, since I am, I share a Vigilante last name, privacy coins are near and dear to my heart. And when I was reading through your Epicenter principles, I'll just give you a few. I think others like me who are highly invested in privacy coins, this might just get your attention. So you launched the Epic chain in September of 2019 with these principles. 1, censorship resistance. 2, trustlessness. 3, confiscation resistance. 4, centralization resistance. 5, custody flexibility. 6, confidentiality. 7, surveillance resistance. 8, permissionlessness. 9, immutability. 10, neutrality. 11, borderlessness. 12, open source. 13, accessibility. 14, inclusion. 15, sustainability. Man, oh man, for a guy like me, oh, the last one, there's a 16th called sovereignty. That's kind of privacy guy's wet dream, if you don't mind me saying too. Yes? No?
We think so. The first piece of what we're now about to christen the Epicenter stable chain, which involves 2 parts. There's an algorithmic stable coin called EUSD, which is redeemable for $1 worth of Epic. EPIC stands for Epic Private Internet Cash. So it's a bit of a geeky, recursive acronym there. So yeah, those are the principles that we stand for, and certain other projects demand things or ask things of the user, and we instead turn that around and say, this is what you can expect from us in our software creations as we go about our mission over the next few years.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, I'm going to start grilling you if you don't mind, because I have identified what I believe are, let me look. Let me just cheat here. I think I have nine questions to address that with the right answers, I'll hand it over to our jury, and that'll be the 10th to where they'll ask the other questions, and that'll be considered the 10th question. But when I did my research on what you look for to find an investable coin and avoid the shit coins, I'll just start the questioning. So, sir, Mr. Freeman, what is the utility of your coin or token? What does it do? What is its purpose? By the way, better than Bitcoin, not a good answer. What say you?
All right, give me 1 second, please.
So the first question is utility.
Right.
We're a cool meme coin.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we don't have, or at least not yet. So I would say that Epic is a synthetic monetary commodity that protects its holders against inflation. It's designed to be extremely censorship resistant, anonymous, and fungible. And the utility of it is that it enables the transfer of value from anyone to anyone, anywhere, anytime, for any reason. There's no forms, no KYC. It's not on any centralized exchanges, only DEXs and peer-to-peer and mining. And so what you have is a system that's trustless, permissionless, and borderless. Anyone can mine it on an ordinary home PC. It uses multiple algorithms so that the hardware types don't compete. So simply, it's a better medium of exchange than BTC with equivalent store of value properties because it has the same emission curve of 21 million coins and the same full Nakamoto consensus. So the reason we designed it is we wanted to get back to a true semi-anonymous peer-to-peer electronic cash system that had a Bitcoin scarcity standard, and it didn't exist in the market, so we made it.
Did not exist in the market. Wow. So as you were going along, I'm saying, sounds a lot like Bitcoin with a different name. But the difference, the primary difference is it's not surveillance.
Yeah, so there's a couple key differences, and I actually take issue with BTC being called Bitcoin. That would be like the I don't know, a Will Smith movie that was pressed onto a DVD disc that then a Blu-ray came out, and people said, no, that's not the real Will Smith movie because it needs to be on DVD for that to happen. So BTC, I think of as a banker tariff coin at this point that doesn't really serve many people's interests quite as well as our humble upstart specifically. So Epic is Bitcoin in the sense of it's an electronic cash system that functions as BTC did before the functional properties, the way you could use it, got degraded, primarily due to that Achilles heel of surveillability. So the primary differentiating factors between Epic and BTC, given that it has the same 21 million and same game theory of how the economics work, is that number one, anyone can mine it on ordinary equipment. It uses multiple algorithm proof of work system so that ASICs only get 2% of the block rewards. Then GPUs from AMD and NVIDIA get 38% of the blocks. And then CPUs from AMD, ARM, Apple, Intel, basically any major chip manufacturer out there for laptops and desktops, those get 60% of the blocks. And it's a random process, so nobody knows which one is going to come up at which time. And the hardware is on standby when it's not your hardware's turn. So it's also very energy efficient. So we solve the problem of accessibility in mining. Right now, if you have $10 million or more and access to heavy duty power, then you can mine BTC. But average people like you and me, and most of us listening, can't. And so you can mine directly on Epic and have it feasible in a home environment. So that's potentially big for the number of people that can fit into the boat. But I think the biggest standout feature, or two of them, they're kind of related, is that all transactions are confidential. The way that works is that both amounts and addresses are blinded. So nobody can see anything except the counterparty of that particular transaction. And then after that, you can't see their funds and they can't see yours. Obviously, three-letter agencies have all kinds of ways to de-anonymize people. And you can get into the merits of which types of privacy tech is better. But Epic delivers fungibility due to a number of approaches. One of them is called cut through, where essentially every time coins are spent in a block, it discards the history and doesn't store any permanent footprints in the blockchain. So it's also very, very future-proofed. So with all transactions anonymous, that means that you don't have the problem of tainted coins that are causing so much friction for businesses in BTC. And if you don't have tainted coins, then if you're a regulated financial institution, your compliance manual and your training procedures for your staff about what to do with tainted coins, you can just eliminate that whole section. I mean, there's just thousands of jobs in institutions that want to deal with cryptocurrency. And there's all this business process complexity around, okay, well, we got a deposit, but we ran it against the Chainalysis filters and it's only 5 hops from a darknet market or a gambling site. Whereas our risk parameters mean it has to be 6 or more, which is a very common parameter. And so we're going to kick it back, and then it just adds a lot of friction to a formerly fluid system. So Epic provides the same functionality that we used to have with BTC that we don't anymore. And that's not a problem with the network itself, so much as the fact that you need intermediaries to connect to the network, specifically at the node level with a 300 gigabyte chain file. Most people don't mine, and they don't hold their own keys. And so we're going the opposite direction with a non-custodial approach that enables people to verify the full blockchain on their local device, because it's only a 1.5 gig chain file versus 300 for BTC. It discards the data after every block.
So does that mean you can mine on your mobile?
It's coming. We've been working hard. We're hoping to get it shipped before the end of the year, but certainly not beyond 2022. Most of the pieces are there.
Okay, so as people know who've followed this channel, my moniker is I don't know shit. So I'm going to ask you some questions that are just kind of back the bus up questions. So the name of your blockchain is Epic Chain?
We call it the Epic blockchain, yeah. Okay,
the Epic blockchain. And when you say mining for your coins, that's mining for the Epic Cash that you talked about, or Epic coin?
Yeah, so the currency asset of the Epic blockchain is called Epic.
Okay.
And we colloquially refer to it as Epic Cash, because right now the only thing you can do with the currency asset is spend it like cash. But when the next phases of the network functionality come out, it'll actually enable multi-asset features, such as what most of Ethereum is used for. So there's a lot of optionality and ability to expand based on the foundation that's there.
Okay, great. So, and you'd mentioned that you have a max supply of 21 million. Is that right?
Correct.
And how many are already, what would the word be, emitted?
11.4.
11.4 out of, so that's over 50%. Yeah, 55%, right?
Right.
How's my math?
Pretty good.
Okay. So now, is it you're going to have to educate me, because I know I hear the words trustless setup. What does that mean?
So people disagree about whether it's relevant or not, but projects that use the zero knowledge privacy tech from Zcash, so that would be Zcash, Pirate Chain, a few other ones, they rely on something called a trusted setup, where essentially you have to trust that those people aren't doing anything nefarious. And almost certainly they're not, but you're not sure. And in a case where it doesn't have trusted setup, you have that 100% certainty. And so I am certainly not qualified to judge, because I can barely spell computer, much less program one. But people that tune into that kind of stuff seem to be either very passionate that it doesn't matter, with a lot of good reasons why it doesn't, or the opposite. And I just get confused. So that's how I understand it.
So yours is a trustless setup, yeah?
Correct.
And I think I've heard Captain Draith talk about Pirate being not being trustless setup, but he defended it very well in that if a person were to go in attack mode to hack, they would have to not only get 50% of whatever the words are, the chain or the control of pirate chain, but also 51% of blockchain of a Bitcoin, or I don't know. I don't know shit, guys. But it's like you'd have to get control of three things, which never going to happen. But I hear you. I hear you. Now, is your coin available now? Are people mining it? Are you selling it? Or is this just one that you're in pre-promotion?
So I am not in promotion and I'm not selling any. There's no we that's selling either. We launched the project as a fair launch with no ICO, no pre-mine, no VCs, no corporation, and no team tokens. So I'm here in my capacity as a volunteer. There's currently 132 of us as of the last roster that contribute in some way. And everybody has to go and mine or buy their coins on the open market like everyone else.
Okay, so you do have them. They are like if someone was watching right now, they could go search for on CoinMarketCap your coin and figure out where they could go buy it, right?
Yeah, so it's not on any centralized exchange. Not that it couldn't be, it's that those guys are all in the pay to play game. And the future is very clearly moving in the direction of DEXs. So the primary locus of trading is P2P directly through miners. There's a Telegram group at Epic Cash Trading that has about 320 people in there. For a long time, it was just on one DEX called VTEX, VITE.net. The ticker on there is Epic002, and they've got a great mobile app, and it's very innovative despite its small size and relative unknown status. But they had a service outage recently, and as a result, the community put other alternatives in place. So now you can buy Epic through the Stellar DEX, StellarX.com or Stellar Term are both good front ends to Stellar. You can buy it on PancakeSwap over on BSC. And then you can also buy it on Ethereum. We're working on a Polygon L2. They just announced as a partner for us, and that should bring the gas costs down. So basically you can buy it from 4 DEXs, no centralized platforms, but we really welcome anybody that wants to do business using the chain. It's an open ecosystem.
After we're done, and for anyone watching this, if this doesn't happen right away, the way live streams work with YouTube is it usually takes about 24 hours for it to render before I can then go in after the fact and add any notes to it. But I promise long-term I will. But can you please send me those links to the places that you can acquire it? You know, I'm not the entire jury, but from a judge standpoint, what you've been talking about so far, I like a lot. Is it fair to call you are a privacy coin then? Yes?
All transactions are confidential and nobody can see anything about your transactions except your counterparty for that specific transaction. And there are no backdoors. There's no points of control. It's free open source software out in the wild that anybody can go and pull off on GitHub and do whatever they want to. So it's very much following in the spirit of BTC, and it's fairly unique in the last 5 years or so that anything like that has come out.
Okay, so that kind of went over my wig, but what I am interested in, very interested, is how in the hell, what happens? How can a group of guys be sitting around and all of a sudden decide to launch a coin like this? I'm really intrigued about what goes into, you know, just from an entrepreneurship standpoint, because I don't get it. I'm a business dude. I'm a business dude who is part of our moniker is we're a company that makes companies. We have 22 portfolio companies. We invest in startups. And there's usually a product or service associated with it. So investment dollars go in for the hopeful long-term ROI of an exit event. And so I just don't get it when these projects like yours seem to just manifest organically and nobody's getting paid anything. And how do you do that? How do you sustain that? And how does that then become valuable? I just don't get it. So if you could educate me, treat me like a 2-year-old, or let's say a second grader, a second grader, and teach me how that happens.
Well, I up until 5th grade, I had to write my name on my hand every morning so I wouldn't forget it. So I'm right there with you. But I'll try to roll at the appropriate pace.
People forgive me. My judge shtick is over. That was uncomfortable, and I'd rather be able to hear you. So we're back to normal right now, guys. You know, I will keep my gavel in hand in case you do get out of hand, because I can tell already, Mr. Freeman, that you're one of those guys that we're going to have to, control. And by the way, anybody out there that thinks I'm giving you the stink eye, I'm not. It's just that I got bit by a wasp, and you wouldn't have want to have seen me a couple of days ago. But I'm not winking at you. All right. Now that we got that. Okay. Mr. Freeman, sorry about that, but I derailed you, but really curious how organically you can start a project like this. What inspired you and the team?
Okay. So like you, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I had a business in my dorm room at university in the late 90s and dropped out of school to build that. And so over the course of, 17 years or so, ended up with a solid little company we were doing commodities trading. I still own it. They just haven't needed me for a number of years. Right. But basically, I understood how to build a global organization that could deliver results. And I had a lot of time on my hands because the business that I had built no longer needed me. And after almost 20 years of 12-hour days, 7 days a week, I was a little burned out. And so I was into precious metals for a long time. And that was always kind of my checking and savings account and rainy day fund. I was the crazy guy telling relatives over Thanksgiving why they needed to have a can full of pre-1964 silver in in their garden, if not in a boating accident in the lake behind their house.
Are you one of those conspiracy guys?
I consider myself more of a coincidence theorist, because you really have to believe in some crazy coincidences to accept official narratives on stuff.
I am a conspiracy factualist, and there's one person I go to kind of as my ultimate source of authority on all things truth. And he happens to be in the chat, and that is Media Bear. Big shout out to Media Bear. Have you ever seen Media Bear's or heard his music?
Not yet, but it's on my list now.
My gosh, you have to go to Media Bear on YouTube, and the dude is like crazy talented. I love that guy and his wife and all of the talent that goes behind those videos. So Media Bear, man, thanks for what you do. So, all right, sorry, we derailed this. But yeah, I like the term conspiracy factualist because I'm just not dumb. I may be
Uncle V, not everybody can afford fluoride-free toothpaste. So come on.
I thought you were going to say not everyone can afford to live in Florida. And I'm like, how did you know I live in Florida?
Oh, you too, eh?
Are you in Florida or no?
I am. What part?
Oh, I'm in Tampa.
Right on. How far away is that from Florida or Miami? I just got here.
Oh, you just got to Miami. Yeah. It takes about 5 hours to drive down there.
Ah, okay. Well, so we'll be phone buddies exclusively then.
You know what? I've never let 5 hours get in the way of me and having a good time. No, man, I'll come down there. My wife and I, we go down there and We'll take a little vacay. We like the Miami area. Good for you. When did you move down?
Well, as you are, I'm no doubt aware, there was a big crypto conference here last week called Bitcoin 2021.
And are you still standing in line to get it?
No, it was hot, and my wife's shoes were hurting her feet, so we being local, we got here 6 months ago to make sure that we would have adequate prep time for the show. And so, you end up figuring out a way. In our new environment, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And they had lots of different access passes, and it was kind of a bedlam as far as which line went to what. So yeah, I mean, we probably got through in about a half an hour, but it easily could have been an hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah, I heard it was just a cluster. But
it was well worth going. I met, I mean, very briefly, but it's always good to be in the same physical space. No particular order. I met Ron Paul, Nick Szabo, who else? Omar Baum, Max Kaiser, maybe a few other ones. But so yeah, it was really good.
I heard Omar on a podcast this morning on oh gosh, what's that dude's name? Pomp. That he's a pleasure to listen to.
Who?
Omar.
Oh yeah. It's funny. A friend of mine wants to set up a Twitter account called Circumstance to troll him.
Oh really?
Well, Pomp and Circumstance.
Oh,
right?
You know what? I'm such a dummy. It's not Omar. It started with an E. It's Eden Yago explains DeFi on Bitcoin on the Pomp podcast. If people haven't, if you like good podcasts, I'm a podcast guy. The Pomp podcast is really good.
Yeah, he's great. He came out of nowhere to get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and the sky's the limit for a guy like that. Yeah,
very smart. Very, very smart. We like him a lot. So, all right, finding investable coins. Now, I am, I'm out of roll here, guys. I'm not going to try to be the judge, but I do want to let you know, I am going to have Captain Draith from Pirate Chain. He's going to be on. We're still determining the date, but it's going to be between the 14th and 18th of this month. I'll let you know. And then I have another guy. This is going to be really fun. If you're familiar with Starwire, Colin Wiebe, Wiebe, he's going to be on with me Thursday evening at 7 p.m. And that is a project from bees.social that I've gotten to know, and it's fascinating how this, when we talk about the utility and the purpose of different coins and projects, everything that I'm going to walk through today with Mr. Freeman, I'm going to go through with Colin as well. And I think you're going to ultimately be impressed, because as I prepared my line of questioning, I actually had Starwire in front of me, and I was doing my own research saying, can I just go in and determine if they're a shitcoin or a not shitcoin before I get him on? And so that gave me my use case to be able to just, formulate these questions. And so I'm really looking forward to that. So that's Thursday night. And again, anyone else out there, anybody who heads a project or whatnot, I mean, this channel is not big. I only have a couple thousand subscribers, but there are a couple thousand, I would submit, pretty loyal, dedicated subscribers who all have an open mind and all want to stay in the safe lane and are curious and interested and want to learn and want to stay safe. So I like our channel. I like our community. And I would love to have any guest who wants to come on. I'll give you a fair trial. But, I just want to avoid people claiming that I'm a shitcoin purveyor. I'm going to ask these questions. And if anybody after this interview decides I haven't asked enough right questions, guess what? You can contact me at theunclevigilante@gmail.com, theunclevigilante@gmail.com. Let me know. I'm open. This is plan, do, review, plan, do, review. That's how you make a business really, really great. And I don't know everything up front, but I'm learning along the way. So help me help you. Okay, so the first one was utility and purpose, and you answered that very well. Thank you very much. The second one is, what problem does your project solve that a current coin or token does not already? One that's may already be light years ahead of you. For example, as you were talking, I'm thinking about that question. I'm thinking, wow, it sounds a lot like Bitcoin. They're already kind of doing that. Or how does your project solve the same problem, which I think is your case, better than an already established competitor? Do you have some kind of advantage that is not already intrinsic to the market with somebody else? By the way, better meme branding is not a good answer. So what do you say? What problem does your project solve, Mr. Freeman?
Yeah, so we kind of got off track there, but just to close the loop on the last question, you asked how the Epic protocol came to be, and obviously, in a pure volunteer context, that's great and all, but things in life cost money. And so I wouldn't say that it was resource free, but we weren't ready with the ECR token piece, the Epicenter DAO that is about to roll out here soon. The governance stuff on Ethereum wasn't nearly as evolved as it is now, whereas now it's plug and play, and it's been battle tested by hundreds of projects. And so the governance technology, if you want to think of it as that, has matured in the intervening 2 years to where now we can. But we actually, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? In this case, what comes first is the stable coin and or stable token rather, and the privacy coin piece of that came after as a key component in the design. And there's actually a link on Bitcoin Talk from December 2018 where the first public draft of our white paper was released on that date. And it said EUSD and Epic, decentralized payments system around the stablecoin called EUSD and the privacy coin component called Epic. And so we backed into the need for a BTC-like asset, but one that wouldn't be censorable, because if it was censorable, then it would be censored. And so correctly foreseeing the problems around transparent addresses and the foothold that that gives to regulators to insist that it be handled in a way that's more compatible with banking regulations, that whole battle space is avoided if you don't have that. And so we ended up coming to the design of Epic, answering the question of, we need to do time travel. We've got this DeLorean, we got to get to 1.21 gigawatts. And in order to do that, we have to have this flux capacitor. And the flux capacitor is a Bitcoin style currency unit that can provide an endogenous source of scarcity for the overall ecosystem, as it serves the role of gold in the Exter's pyramid in the traditional financial system. Epic is the gold at the bottom of the inverted pyramid on which the entire bank money, base money, credit money, and derivatives on all of that can be built in a trustless, permissionless, decentralized construction that really doesn't work unless you have an Epic. And the reason we couldn't use BTC, aside from the fact that there's a horrible Gini coefficient of 90% of BTC that ever will exist already does, and it's in the hands of a very small number of people, which leads to social problems such as the proposed 80% special tax that Biden and co want to slap on crypto investors. And so with only 55% of the coins out and 5.2 billion eligible mobile devices to mine them for a full 6 years, that means there's going to be a lot of people benefiting. And so essentially EUSD is an algorithmic stablecoin token network that runs not just on Ethereum, but all of its competitors, there's 46 chains in total. Of course, they won't all come at once, but those are networks like Solana and Polkadot and Cardano and you name it. If it's a so-called Ethereum killer or Ethereum competitor, then EUSD will run on there. And so it's a twin staking system where if you own Epic and you own ECR, then as the Federal Reserve continues to hyperinflate the dollar into oblivion, you're protected because of the scarcity properties of Epic, and you can directly monetize that through seniorage, through owning the ECR token, which we like to think of as the every citizen's reserve.
Wow. I am so glad that I have this show. And I'm so glad that I can go back and listen to that like 10 times over and over to try to understand half of it. Because really just an amazing amount of information in there. So thank you. So like if I was going to go buy Bitcoin right now, it would cost me probably, I think 32 grand, maybe. I have no idea where it is. I haven't checked it for a while, but it was it seemed like it was in that area today. What would your token cost right now?
30 cents.
30.
Yeah, what is that? 100,000 times less?
Yeah, and so,
like yeah.
so I'm getting to something here. If what I'm hearing is you're like Bitcoin, only better, and in what people who buy Bitcoin think they were buying, perhaps, or maybe that's Monero's line. I think is so. I'm not trying to steal Monero's line. But it sounds to me like you're like, hey, we're Bitcoin almost exactly, except we're in essence private, and that's a big deal. And oh, by the way, right now we're 30 cents, and imagine if you got in at Bitcoin at 30 cents. There were some of those people. So well, that's why this segment of my channel. That's why I'm not going to literally, I'm not going to be judge and jury people all the time, if you can believe it, or asking me, hey, Uncle V, what do you think of this coin or that coin? I'm like, you're asking me? Come on, dude. I don't know shit. But I want to be able to find, when I opened it up and I said, human nature is a bitch. My human nature is I want to be one of those guys that gets in on Bitcoin at 30 cents. That's why I'm open to any and all people who want to come peddle their coins. If you want to go through the questions and answer them, because we might find a gem, guys. This may be one that we can get in on at 30 cents. And in a few years, like I think ARRR came out when the crypto Vigilante suggested it. It came out at 8 cents, I think. Maybe it was a little more. I think it was 8 cents. And at one point in time, it was over $15. And, it's come back down to like $4 or $5, $6. But what a great early buy. So everything you're saying about your coin so far, I'm digging. And I certainly want to. I mean, I'm just leading the witness here.
Well, let me put it in perspective for you. So we like to think of it as the hardest money ever created, and the data to support that is as follows. So in May of 2028, there will be 20.4 million BTC and 20.4 million Epic, and the supply stays in sync forever. Now currently
when will it be in sync forever?
May of 2028, there will be 20.4 million of both coins.
2028, and there'll be 20.4 million. Okay.
So there's 7 years from now. But right now there's 19 million BTC and there's 11.4 million Epic. So over the next 7 years, there's 4 halvings in Epic. Right now, the network has about 3,000 to 5,000 computers per day mining, or 3,000 to 5,000 computers mining at any given time. And the network spits out, no matter what the price is or how many people are mining, it produces 11,000 coins a day, and they share those according to their hash rate contribution.
How in
Now,
the
what
hell?
happened?
How in the hell do you mine coins? How would I mine this? I'm a regular dude. I have a computer. I have a MacBook right here.
That'll work. You can mine on that. So you go to Epic Cash Help Desk, and a friendly volunteer will walk you through hand-holding, getting you set up in probably about a half an hour. I actually teach at something called Freeman University, where we do mine crypto at home seminars. We had 12 people show up to our first one here in Miami, and then we open source the format. And currently people are getting a similar thing spun up in Mexico City, Sierra Leone,
Would you
Botswana.
be open
Yeah.
to coming back and doing doing one of those
Sure.
on my show here? And
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
great.
and it's quick. And if you have a laptop or desktop, you can do it. If you're technically inclined, it can be even less, but even a total noob can be under an hour, probably more like 30 minutes. And since we're all volunteers and very passionate about it, there's friendly volunteers or friendly support people on the help desk 24/7 in a dozen languages. So
Wow.
wherever you are and whatever pace you want to take it, there's no stupid questions, only stupid people who don't ask them. And so our marketing strategy, such as it is, since we don't have any formal marketing, is overwhelmingly focused on education. And we think of proof of work as not just a network security strategy, but also a coin dispersion mechanism. And so if we can get, right now there's about 1 billion devices that could potentially mine. And when we get the mobile pieces working right, then that'll be about 5.2 billion devices. And so when BTC is 100,000, we're going to see probably $100, maybe $200 on-chain average fees, because when we hit 60, we averaged $62 at the end of March. Now that's for a 10-minute transaction. Nothing else, no other network except for Epic has the same security assurance. And that's part of why it has that value. But $62 prices a lot of use cases out of the market. And that 10-minute heartbeat is a lifetime in 2021. And so Epic, by contrast, has a 1-minute block time. And when, not if, but when Epic is 100,000, it will still be free for 90% of people. And if you want it in that first block, it would probably still be $1, something like that. And the reason that is because the data compression of Mimblewimble, it doesn't have to replay the coins from the beginning of the system the whole time. It just validates the current state. So it's just got a tremendous throughput advantage versus BTC.
Man, that's exciting. I love everything that you're talking about. I mean, for the first time in my short crypto career, I'm actually in the zone thinking, wow, I can do this. I can mine this. I can figure this out. And why not? Right? Why not? I've given a lot of thought. As a matter of fact, I thought I'd get to it today, but my freaking wasp eye, I just didn't think it would be a good idea. But I'm going to take a walk. I go on cigar walks, and I'll take a camera and just have a little chat with my friends, which are anybody who watches me later. But it feels like I'm having a conversation right there where I'm smoking a cigar and walking. And I am going to talk about what does financial wealth really mean? What does financial security mean? What does it mean to what would make you happy? When do you need enough money to be happy? And I've been thinking a lot about that. And just to kind of give it away, it's like I'm thinking when I can generate enough wealth to where my investments provide enough passive income to be able to offset, my number is 1.5 times my monthly nut or my expenses. So why 1.5%? Well, if you have enough passive income to just cover your bills, that's pretty cool, because then you can go do whatever you want, right? You're not worried about your bills. So to me, that's serenity. But that doesn't leave you much to be able to go live your life. But But if you had 1.5 times that, then you have some dry powder to make some other investments and do some things and whatnot. So I've just been thinking a lot about that. And so this mining thing here is attractive to me because I really do want to begin thinking in terms of, well, what can I do? Not that I'm looking for a side gig, but what can I do passively, like it seems like mining, right? To where I might be able to impact my future 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So this is intriguing, and I think it's going to be intriguing to lots of people. So I'd love to be able to have you back on to walk us through a training of how we can mine Epic.
Yeah, that would be my pleasure. And just because I got off track, and just to finish that, so right now there's 11,000 coins a day in October. That goes down to 5,500 in our second halving. 2 years later, it's 2.75 thousand, and then 2 years later, 1.38. And then finally, in May of 2028, we call that the singularity, when the supply curves match up. There's an 85% collapse, a big bang in the emission, from 1.4K per day down to only 210 coins per day. So 8 billion people, only 210 coins per day. And by that time, we'll have every square millimeter of silicon on the planet able to mine this thing, just to put the scarcity of one single 30-cent coin in perspective.
Jeez, I want a lot of them.
Well, you don't need more than one. It's like saffron. A pinch goes a long way.
Where do you store them?
So a cold wallet is the best. You just generate the seed words, and I like to etch it on a metal plate. If you just print them or write them, then you have a fire risk. So best practices would be to etch your seed words on a metal plate inside a fireproof safe. And for good measure, you probably want that behind a concrete wall with some bushes in front.
Got it. But where do you like with when I buy ARRR, I store it in my treasure chest. So that is my wallet.
Yeah, same like that. Just a local wallet, just local desktop wallet. Yeah.
So you guys provide that. So on your website, there's a desktop wallet you would download, and that's where you'd keep it. Can you put that on a Trezor or?
No, not yet. No, you can't. There are no hardware wallets that support it yet, because R, as an example, derives from Zcash in large measure, which itself derives from Satoshi's C++ code. And so it's a relatively minimal step to support it, like the other coins that share that lineage. And Epic is an all new code base written in Rust, incidentally. And one quirk of Mimblewimble that's kind of held it back up until just recently, which one of the things we're excited about, is that transactions are interactive, meaning both parties need to be online at the same time, which is of course a big usability challenge for exchanges and people that aren't online at the same time. And so we've been able to address that successfully in the intervening 2 years. And so one by one, the roadblocks that are kind of like stoppers impeding the flow into the system get resolved. The thing about these networks is that the bigger they get, the bigger they can get. And there's some structural forces that are why that exists.
Hey, let me ask you this. If you had a favorite uncle, and I know none of this is an investment advice, and at this point in time, let me just hit a button. Okay, I hit a magic button. Nobody else is listening. This is just you to me. You know, it's 30 cents now. If I'm your favorite uncle and you're wanting to just say, hey, look, you know, like there's this guy out there named Jeff Berwick, our Lord and Savior of crypto, peace be upon him. Jeff Berwick talks about pirate could be within the year anywhere from, you know, $50 to $100. Shoot, it could go up to ultimately, you know, $5,000. But where in your mind do you see, like in a year, or yeah, let's just say in a year, where does that 30 cents, where could it go based upon, you know, just the dynamics of how it's been set up?
Sure. So we really don't like to talk about price, but since we're on mute, putting on my investor. No, are we serious or you're joking?
I
You
hit
don't have to put it on mute. I'm
I
okay.
hit the
I don't
magic
mind.
button. Hey
Okay.
guys, shh, don't be quiet in the chat. Okay.
All right.
Go.
Yeah. All right. So if I put my investor hat on for a second, we can do some rough math. So tokens, like DeFi startups, are more like the equity of a startup because they the monetary policy of something like a Yearn Finance Wi-Fi, as an example, they decided to mint themselves another $250 million worth of tokens as a management bonus for themselves, which they have the right to do. And that's something that can't happen in a layer one protocol. So when you're buying a true protocol, a network, and there's very few of the 10,000 that are out there, there's only a few dozen really that would count as a layer one protocol. You really need to look at them in terms of price per square foot, like real estate, on a comparable basis, rather than price to earnings or anything else like that.
Okay.
So with that basic distinction, if we just logically, if we have a 2-bedroom apartment on the 44th floor and there's an identical unit on the 43rd floor, it's probably worth a roughly similar amount. And so you can look at the capabilities of what a chain can do to address or to assess the addressable market of what it ultimately could come to encompass. So Ethereum being able to settle over $1 trillion of DeFi trades in Q1 means that it has a certain amount of value to the individual tokens. And so looking at market comparables, the closest comps in the market, the way I would look at it is Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. And both of those, the theory is that they are a medium of exchange focused alternative to BTC, which has set itself out as purely going after the gold 2.0 market or the store of value use case. And so I would argue that those coins, BCH and LTC, have a better history, but Epic has a brighter future. And on an apples to apples basis, market cap parity with those two networks would put Epic about 4,000 times its current value. So from 3 million to 12 billion. Before the most recent market hiccup, it was actually double that at about 23 billion. But let's just use the today figures. So somebody that could scrounge up 2,500 bucks to get that kind of a stake would yield $1 million if that played out. And so if you're playing blackjack and you're counting the cards and you win 51% of the time and you have that edge and you grind it out, you can make the numbers work. Even with a tiny edge here, if you have 1% of your portfolio in something that could return even 100 times, much less thousands of times.
Can I ask you why my math is so flawed? I just thought, let me put in 10,000 bucks divided by 0.3. So that's 3,000 coins, right?
30,000.
Or wait, 30,000?
Yeah,
30?
10 grand would be 30,000 coins.
Okay. 30,000 coins. And you're okay, so that's 30,000 coins. And then when you say 4,000%, that means times 400.
No, 4,000 times. So 10 grand would get you 4 million.
Okay, 10 grand times 40,000 times. Okay.
4,000 times.
4,000. Okay.
Well, and there's actually historical precedent for this, because if you owned Verge in November of 2016,
that's 40 million bucks.
Well, like I said, I have to spell my name on my hand, and I always got in trouble for eating paste as a kid. But yeah, you're in front of a calculator. I'm not. Whatever it is, it's better than the 0.75% that Citibank wants to pay for my spare cash.
Understood, but I just want to do the math that if somebody invested 10,000 bucks, or let's say $1,000, that's accessible, right? $1,000, and $1,000 is going to get you 3,000 coins, right?
Right.
So we have 3,000 coins now valued at $1,000. and you're saying that that $1,000 times 4,000. God, I'm just doing the math. This is
4
confusing.
million.
It's 4
4
million.
million.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if you had $1,000 in Verge in November of 2017, 3 months later you could sell that for I want to say I think what was it, $1,000 turned into 67 million at the peak, something like that. It was the winningest asset in all of human history, like even more than Dutch tulips. And of course, it didn't stay there. But if you had your finger on the trigger, it could be quite lucrative.
Right.
I know people that in the course of the last couple cycles that have taken concentrated positions to make 7 figures, 8, 9. I don't know any actual
So
billionaires
give
directly, but
me a time frame of where do you think where it, and look, it's true. Everyone out there. I mean, you just take a look at there's so many people. I'm sick of hearing it. Oh, I got in on Doge when it was at this level. Not even, well, it's at Doge is at 30. What is it? 30 cents now. But when it got to a ridiculous, when it was at the point micro, right? So you're at 30 cents now, which more likening it to Bitcoin. It's basically when you were on the ground floor. So, I mean, in a year, that 30 cents could be not ridiculous, could be $10. Yeah.
I would, without specifically commenting on that, I think we could just point to
Yeah. Point to because I know you can't. You can't.
well, yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to be difficult, but one of the things that we take very seriously is we correctly anticipated the more stringent regulatory environments.
Right.
Projects like Library and Kin. Incidentally, I was a significant ICO backer in Kin and suffered the consequences of the SEC's tightening stance on that. And so with no ICO, no pre-mine, and no company in the middle, we don't even have an operational foundation structure like Ethereum or Cardano or some of the other projects, specifically because it's a point of censorability. And we wanted to be as decentralized and atomic and emergent as possible. And so the best way to not get caught in any Elon Musk SEC type embroilments is to just be very circumspect about that. But if we look at how many wire transfers don't need to happen, how many 3% credit card swipe fees, how many ACH costs, how many bail-ins, bail-outs, negative interest rates, capital controls, moral hazard, issuer risk, credit risk. I mean, there's a whole host of risks that you put your head on the pillow at night, and you don't need to care about those at all, because citizens in Cyprus in 2013 woke up on Friday morning, Friday close of business, they had 100,000 euros. They wake up in Monday morning and their bank's been nationalized and bailed out, and now they have worthless stock and 50% haircut. You know, that's on the books with Basel III regulation for banks around the world. And who knows who's going to be left holding the bag when this hyperinflationary musical chairs era comes to its natural conclusion. But you really just don't have to worry about that at all with Epic. And so in terms of building a passive income, I think it's really compatible with that, because if Epic is undervalued today, these things go from FUD to FOMO overnight, and you can, you know, be on both sides of it, and markets tend to overshoot in both directions. Incidentally, it's trading for less than on the first day when we launched 2 years ago, and since that time we've had over 5,000 people earn some coins through mining, We're about to release the DAO, also in a no ICO, no venture capital, very Howey safe way. And we had a major test in the form of a value overflow incident, a bit of a technical crisis that we had to meet, just like BTC in 2010. That happened to us back in March. So it's battle proven over the course of 940,000 blocks at this point.
940. Wow, you're coming up on 1 million. You gonna do something for your that landmark or that milestone?
Yeah, you know, maybe get some sleep. I don't like to personally or to talk too much about my engagement. It sounds trite and nobody believes it, but I'm really motivated by the potential impact, the positive benefit that this type of thing can have on the world, because civil asset forfeiture is a scourge. Official powers that be have taken more money, including from my small business 7 years ago. I won, and they didn't give the money back. And had I not had you know, a coffee can full of silver nickels, I wouldn't have been able to defend myself and live to fight another day.
Wow.
So censorship resistance and confiscation resistance and all those other things we mentioned up front. If we have a more honest money system, then billions of people that are not getting a fair shake today will. And I think that can have really profound consequences. So I personally have been on a 7 days a week, every minute I'm awake mission for this since about mid 2018.
Well, just to cut to the chase, and I do want to get through the other questions, but my good friend Enrique is in the chat, and Enrique had one simple question: where do I sign up? where does someone go for all this?
Epic Cash on Telegram is the best place to start. We'd love for you to come say hi.
Epic Cash Telegram. Okay, and then afterwards, you are going to drop me all kinds of good links that I'm going to populate in the show notes after this renders, so that anyone watching right now, you don't have to worry about it. But if you want to get a jump on it, Enrique, there you go. Go into Telegram chat. I know you like Telegram. Legend.
And you know what we could do too, through just to plug another thing we're doing at Freeman U on Telegram is Freeman University. It's a P2P lifelong learning journey is how we're calling it. And if you want to do some comparative analysis on actual shitcoins, and teach people how to critically evaluate what they own and maybe get to the bottom of why they own it and perhaps why their interests may not be best served. A lot of people that are getting into the market this year, I think a conservative estimate is that 90% of people are going to lose 90% of their money.
Gosh,
the savvy. What's that?
That's crazy. That's scary.
Well, you're buying Doge at 100 billion market cap, and the transactional activity doesn't support it. The differentiation, there's no credible basis for that at all. I mean, it's insanity.
But Elon.
And Elon giveth and Elon taketh away.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're building your house on a foundation of sand.
Absolutely. So let me get through to the third one, and my example of this, I think you have personal experience, is probably a bad example. But is there an added utility with the project's blockchain itself? Does the blockchain do something that mitigates the fact that this new currency is kind of cool and it does some cool things, but stand in line? Other projects do the same. So my example was like Library Blockchain Protocol functionally works the same as Bitcoin in how it's mined and works. Basically, I think it's a Bitcoin clone with more units. But when Library is integrated into the YouTube-like video hosting platform Odyssey, it becomes a game changer. And which fans can now tip creators using the native currency, the LBTC token, which can be acquired simply through your viewing and engagement activities. So library does to publishing what BTC did to money. It's a different use case, but the inside baseball is, as I understand it, is the people who built library protocol are also the same ones that built the Odyssey platform. So, the integration is going to be kind of seamless. So it seemed to me that now we're cooking with gas because you have the added utility with the project's blockchain related to the coin. Do I have that right? Other than the part
Yeah.
that libraries, involved with something with the SEC, or you can educate us on that?
Yeah, so they raised funds as part of their token offering to build out their business, and the SEC took issue with the particular structure of their sale. And so the setup that we have is informed by the experiences of all the projects like that have come before, because we're able to design around those risks
Nice.
and not incur the regulators' wrath. So what are we doing here that's unique? As I mentioned earlier, that the way we came to Epic was recognizing that we needed a certain a blockchain that could do certain things to serve as a source of endogenous scarcity in the overall Epicenter decentralized commerce ecosystem. And so the addressable market for, or the opportunity for this type of stablecoin is somewhere on the order of $100 trillion. The market for gold 2.0 is about 10 trillion, which is the market cap of gold. So contrast that with the market for fiat currencies. It's orders of magnitude larger. I mean, even before getting into derivatives, you're well up into the hundreds of trillions, if not quadrillions. So just right there, it's a larger market. And so existing stablecoins such as Tether, USDT, Circle, USDC, or Make or Die have problems that hold back their adoption by the market. And EUSD addresses these problems. We like to think of Epic and EUSD as two sides of the same coin, and together they provide three functions of money in a single composite asset that kind of exists in two quantum superpositions. Now, remember that right now, EUSD hasn't launched yet, but when it does, if Epic is 30 cents, then one EUSD is 3 Epic. If one Epic is $10, then one
Right.
EUSD is 0.1 Epic. So from the perspective of a merchant that wants to not pay 3% on
Wow.
credit card fees at point of sale and avoid chargebacks and get their money right away, there's an opportunity to cut half or more out of the cost of merchant capture for small businesses by using the Epic blockchain as the rail instead of the legacy banking system. So because there's no currency on the market that does what Epic can do, it enables EUSD to do different things than others can as well. And so the three functions of money over the ages are store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. And Epic, because it has Bitcoin standard monetary policy with 21 million coins, is likely to be a very good store of value, as BTC has, the way that it works with the wall of encrypted energy that grows to protect the value, counterbalanced against that drip feed of new coins that's going down by half every 4 years. That's kind of the magic that makes that balancing act work. So Epic is as good as a store of value, unlike BTC, which has a lot of friction around tainted coins and high costs. $62 recently was the figure. It's also suitable as a direct medium of exchange because you don't need to go through a Coinbase or a Binance. You don't need to trust anyone to validate the blockchain for you, you can run it on your cheap mobile phone because it's under 2 gigabytes. So that means it has the store of value properties that BTC does, and the medium of exchange properties that it doesn't. Just as a simple thought experiment, if you and I are at dinner and there's a butter knife and a steak knife, and that's it, we're both okay when it comes to spread butter on our bread. But when it comes time to eat, my steak knife cuts through the steak and your butter knife doesn't. And so I think that if everything is the same except for the thing that's different, and the thing that's different makes it better, not worse, then you've got a floor value there rather than a ceiling value. So using those two sides of the same coin, Epic on the one side as the store of value and medium of exchange, but it's bad as a unit of account because the volatility in fiat price is going to continue to be there. I mean, 12 years in, BTC is still extremely volatile, and so Epic will be too. So you really need a unit of account, which the US dollar, for better or worse, is ubiquitous. It's good as a unit of account, and it's good as a medium of exchange because we denominate our lives predominantly in dollars, at least certainly here in the US, and in many emerging markets. But the dollar, and by extension EUSD, is a terrible long-term store of value. And so we kind of square the circle with achieving those 3 points in the triangle with the 2 assets. And so just as gold serves the basis of the fiat monetary system, it used to do that directly pre-1971 with the direct redeemability for the Federal Reserve note. Epic restores that redeemability, or EUSD rather, because if you're a merchant and you accept EUSD in the course of trade for your business, you'll always be able to cash that out for $1 worth of Epic. So if you pass that through to your employees as payroll, for example, or your suppliers, they too can be completely agnostic as to the value of the underlying, because from their perspective, a dollar is a dollar, and they just pass that hot potato along. And so the magic that makes the structure work is a third token called ECR, which stands for Epicenter token, but informally we call it the Every Citizen's Reserve, because just like the private owners of the privately held, not federal, and has no reserves extractive banking monopoly that has the stranglehold on the nation through the currency system, they started out with no gold and ended up with all the gold, and we have this worthless paper. ECR holders benefit from a seniorage relationship off of a USD. So if you have, if you're a long-term Epic holder and you want to generate additional income, you'll be able to do that, essentially providing liquidity through the ECR and EUSD tokens. So what we have today
is that to, you know, to go slowly for your good uncle. Is that like when I'm hearing about hex and staking and is that what you're talking about, to where you're providing liquidity by? I just don't get any of that.
Yeah, so the way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, and this field has a very high bar and a steep learning curve, and it's very cross-disciplinary. So the DeFi stuff, you can make a full-time career of for months and years and still be barely scratching the surface. But suffice it to say that there's a rapid maturation in an entrepreneurial ecosystem of decentralized financial services that use the smart contracts capability of platforms such as Ethereum and its ilk to enable people to do types of savings and lending things on a peer-to-peer basis, cutting out the banks and middlemen, and enjoying a better yield as a result. So essentially, Epic is the key component that enables ECR to algorithmically govern the supply of EUSD and make sure that the system doesn't blow up in the event of bank runs.
Okay. Again, I'm so glad to be able to go back and watch this again and listen to this again. So This is amazing so far, and I'm going to go ahead and make a call. Like I'm going to make the call that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go undefeated this next year. Right now, today, I'm going to make that call all the way through the Super Bowl, and then Tom Brady might retire. I think that's the only way we ever get rid of the guy. And I don't want to get rid of him because I'm from Tampa. But anyway, I'm making the call right now that you've just set the bar really high for future guests to come on here, because we are through just 3 of 9 and you have dropped so much information. It's like blowing me away. So you are a wealth of knowledge, and you really know, what you're talking about, obviously, and we're learning a lot. So thank you for investing in the time. Let me go to the 4th, because this seems to be really important, and I think you've got a really good answer for this. But what is the team behind the project like? Is the developer team solid, proven? Are they committed long term?
Right. Sorry, just domestic stuff. Let me put this away. Give me 1 second. Okay, so right now, Epicenter DAO, as of the initial creation, our roster is about 130 active contributors, and it's been growing steadily since 2018. Most of our early people are still with us. Life happens and people come and go. Everybody's got other commitments, and not everybody is independently wealthy. So it's intermittent, but always growing. Not to name any names, because we are committed to privacy, or respecting privacy. And so if you hop in our Telegram, you'll see people name themselves as such and such Freeman. And we signed the white paper as the Freeman family. So
Nice.
the people who comprise our team, such as it is, we don't describe ourselves as that, because as a community project, we want everyone to feel like they can be part of the team. And even if you're just hitting the like button or commenting on a YouTube video, that helps. Literally everyone that is a token holder can participate, and really should. So our people have firsthand experience cracking full blocks with GPUs back on BTC in 2010. We were there at the birth of Monero in 2014, not myself on that one. Verge in 2017, Grin in 2019. I myself had 40,000 1080 Ti graphic cards at a farm in Sweden, rented for the Grin launch. Yeah, for the mining geeks out there, it wasn't actually the 1080 Ti's. It was the headless P102s that had the secret 11 gig setup versus the 8 gig for the 1080 Ti's. So it was a learning experience. And what I learned is that I shouldn't have done the deal. So up until now, everybody's been a volunteer, and we've kind of had to run the race with our shoes tied together and our arms tied behind our back in a backpack full of rocks, not having any ICO or pre-mine to go around means we couldn't be profligate with resources. And now with the ECR token coming out, we'll finally have a bit of resources to do more tokeny type things that people expect, because they go to CoinMarketCap and they go, wait a minute, this thing looks like a shitcoin, smells like a shitcoin, it only has such and such volume. I mean, most people don't realize that almost every asset out there has wildly inflated volumes. And so if you see 400 million of volume, you may actually struggle to find a trade for $3,000. And people learn that the hard way. Oh yeah, it's an extremely dirty game.
How do they get away with that? How does CoinMarketCap even allow that? Or, like.
Yeah, so it's an emerging space that has a patchwork of global regulation and function or dysfunction, and the wheels of justice grind slowly in many cases. You have outfits like Bitfinex and Binance in particular that have been able to continue to operate despite being a lot more flagrant than somebody such as BitMEX, who gets taken behind the woodshed. XRP gets made an example of in library and Kin and Graham, but EOS gets a slap on the wrist, a $4 billion illegal deal for a $27 million fine. Shows the ROI on top quality legal talent is even better than investing in Shiba Inu tokens.
You're great. I love your approach. That is okay. Good answer. Good answer. So we have the team. All right. So this is one that is really interesting to me because this is my day job, so to speak. Is what's the marketing behind the project? Proven, solid experience. Considering that adoption is one of the key factors to a cryptocurrency viability and success, how is the marketing team going to get people, companies, and entities to adopt the technology? By the way, first mover advantage, not a good answer. And as they say, you are not Bitcoin, you are not Satoshi, that ship has sailed. So really interested in the marketing behind it, especially when you're bootstrapped like you've been.
Yeah, so VC funded projects have raised tens of billions of dollars in capital, and about half of that goes to marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So without getting creative, there's no way that anyone really can be heard. There's almost 400 billion in market cap on the 45 Ethereum competitors, and about 400 billion for Ethereum itself. So there's this tremendous bonfire of capital going in. There's a project that I like quite a bit called Polygon. They're actually one of the two. Yeah, they're actually one of the two partners that tweeted their partnership with us pre-launch. There's a number more that I'm not at liberty to discuss quite yet, but we were comfortable with them sharing our association publicly. And so in the case of Matic, if you will fill out a level 2 KYC through, I want to say KuCoin or Gate, one of the Asian exchanges, simply acquiring a user is worth $80 in token spend for them. Stellar was giving away $25 in tokens there for a while. If you go to Coinbase Earn, you can see just tremendous giveaways from well-funded token projects that are essentially lighting money on fire to gain users. And so everything we've achieved has been despite a literal zero marketing budget. We've done no paid promotion. We don't do any paid reviews, any shilling, anything. I've done a handful of interviews with guys such as yourself for very targeted audiences, just so that they can hear it sort of from the horse's mouth. And really that's aimed at getting more contributors in who say, that's really cool what you guys are doing. How can I be a part of it? And of those 132 that are on the roster currently, many have come from listening to niche topic presentations such as this. And so our strategy is centered around education. For an example, we have a website called epicentral.io, and it has a dozen PDFs in a dozen languages.
Yeah, I just dropped that into the chat, by the way, epicentral.io/EN if you're English.
Yeah, and so that's not Google Translate. That's people from our community that pitched in through GitHub. So again, a lot of the contribution of what's going on has a transparency benefit there that other types of organizations coming from the closed source world don't. So there's a huge amount of high quality information about the properties of the protocol. And then as we build out the DeFi ecosystem more broadly, there's a lot of educational material that we'll do there. Here in Miami.
Yeah, and you really take no prisoners in there. There's just a ton of content to where you're not afraid to compare yourselves to, other projects, other coins.
Anything.
Yeah. Which is outstanding. One question. This is like some of these DeFi projects, when you're a newbie, and I like to talk about trying to be able to help somebody who's just getting involved, who doesn't know a thing about crypto, trying to figure out how to get $1,000 of fiat currency from their bank into a diverse set of, let's call it 10 coins, would be in a hot or cold storage wallet. So there's a process, obviously, that, is secondhand to you. Now it's secondhand to me. But at one point in time, it wasn't. But now when you start getting into these coins that aren't on these major exchanges, to where you're using MetaMask or Pancake Swap or I don't even know what I don't know. But I kind of get like a deer in headlights. So is there somewhere that a guy like me could go to? Like, maybe, do you have any YouTube videos, or are there videos on your website to where somebody could go and in their bedhead and underwear just sit down and say, okay, I want to buy $1,000 worth of this. I need to know how. Is there that resource available?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that for somebody that is just starting and they want to throw $1,000 into coins,
Yeah.
I would say save your money, don't buy anything, and invest not your financial capital, but your temporal capital and your intellectual capital. Spend your bandwidth educating yourself about these different assets and really set yourself up to win, because most people lose in this game and they kind of deserve to, because they're flying blind. The valuations are very high right now across the market, and if you're buying Polkadot right now, you're paying literally 1,000 times what I paid for that same asset 4 years ago. Same with ICP, same with Filecoin. All the darlings that are now getting shilled on CNBC are things that are full retail price in a fevered market, and you're not going to get 100x your money because some guy has already 100x or more behind you. And so I would advise people to go to @FreemanU on Telegram, and that's Freeman University, where it's like a one-on-one private tutoring for mission focus, like how to become prosperous using these defensive tools.
Let me just put right here in the chat, and we're going to do it just one letter at a time. It's t.me/RFEEMAN, the letter U, right?
Not RF, FR.
I mean, F, Jesus. Yeah, I have that.
It's okay. I'm dyslexic too.
Freeman U, not university, yes. But Freeman U, right? Okay, boom. Right. There it is in the chat. People can go to it. Now, when you go, do you have to have an invitation link, or do you just join? Okay. No, so you just go in there. I'm definitely going to hop in there and enjoy that. So thank you for that, because that's, I mean, look, just the way that you've articulated, you've addressed everything. We aren't even through the questions, but you had me at hello. just even in our short little engagement in our own private Telegram chat, I could tell I was just so, I'm sitting here like I just posted the video and you're like, hey, I'll come on and I'll set the bar. And I love that confidence. And I think that bar is really, really high right now. So you've answered regarding the marketing. I will tell you that I'd be happy to lean in on that and provide a little bit of my own platform for you guys to. I'd really like to be able to have some training sessions on here and such. I'm interested in the mining, and I know that people here are interested as well. I would though. I would push back on you on that $1,000 that save your money. I believe that you cannot learn crypto from a book or from a video. You have to get on the bike and pedal and skin your knees. And so
then let's make sure.
Go ahead.
Right, I agree. Let's make sure that our students don't have a bad experience that sets them up for failure and thinking that it's too hard or it's not for them or whatever.
Right.
So the way to get the knowledge benefit without taking the financial risk is that there are gold stablecoin tokens now. There's a number of them, but they don't generally offer redeemability. But there's one that launched last year called CGT that's available on Uniswap through MetaMask. And this token is redeemable for 1 gram of physical gold. You can actually have it shipped to your house, or you can do the conversion and get silver eagles or whatever. This is out of Singapore. You can get shipments from 2,000 different Dylan Gage metals dealers, and the founder is a good friend of mine. It's Singapore, so they're obviously not going to play any funny business there. And so that way, gold at $1,800 an ounce or whatever, it's not going to go down in dollar terms. You're going to be watching the crypto markets from the sidelines, and now you're a Uniswap ninja. Most of that top 10 portfolio is likely to be the ones that, if they do succeed, they're highly valued, and it's tough to get the timing right as an outsider. And 9 out of 10 are likely going to zero. So it's just really, a lot of reasons not the right time to be putting your toe in the water for real money, but buy $10 worth, not 1,000.
No, that's an excellent idea, because I want people to learn how to be able to just go through the entire process. So what you're saying is it forces you to get your money out of the bank and connect it to somewhere, whether it's a centralized exchange or otherwise, and be able to purchase a coin and send a coin and be able to go through the process of, now you know what seed words are, and you have to, what to do to protect yourself. So that's a great idea, a great way to just keep people safe, to where their portfolio is going to be, almost as good as gold. Hey, it is. So that's cool. All right. So 6, we already know, but what is the supply control like? And I'm just going to talk about this out loud, because I want future guests to be able to hear this question in advance. That means that if you've been able to suffer through this interview, and I don't mean that it's been painful, but I mean it's long. It's not Cliff's Notes, but you'll know the questions you're going to be asked. What is the supply control like? Tell me about the best case scenario of the market cap. That's the total units times the price, equaling the total value of the coin in circulation. So I'd like to fully understand that. Is there a hard cap on the currency? In your case, there is 21 million. Basically, there's that book. I don't know if you read it. Here it is. It was so helpful to me. It's called Bitcoin, Hard Money You Can't Fuck With. And it is by Jason Williams. And I learned more. I didn't read the book. I listened to it. I downloaded it on Audible. And, it's about a dozen hours of listening. And it was so outstanding. And I learned more from doing that than almost anywhere else. And I understand what hard money means now. So that's what also excites me about your project and Epic, is it's the hardest money. At least, I mean, I don't know anything. I'm taking your word on that, but it's harder than Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people think that Bitcoin is deflationary, but it's actually technically disinflationary, meaning that the inflation rate is always positive. It actually never reaches 21 million. It just gets asymptotically closer through that halving process. Is kind of how that works. So the inflation rate is always positive, meaning it's inflationary. It never goes. The supply never goes down, but it does so at ever decreasing rates. So it's disinflationary. As we said earlier, Epic follows the Bitcoin standard emission exactly, with an adjustment for the fact that Epic launched 10 years later. BTC launched in 2009, and by May of 2028, it will have 20.4 million coins in existence on its way to the 21 million hard cap, which takes what is it, 119 years at this point to reach. So 7 years from now, May of that year, there will be 20.4 million BTC and 20.4 million Epic, and the numbers stay in sync forever from that point. But right now there's 11.4 million Epic and 19 million BTC. And so what that means is that looking back from the vantage point of 7 years from now, the first 19 years of BTC will have been compressed into the first 9 years of Epic. BTC maximalists always talk about stock to flow, which is a familiar valuation concept from the gold world. And it is appropriate, but I think here what's more salient is the stock to flow second derivative, the rate of change of stock to flow, which is actually quite more aggressive for Epic than BTC because there's 4 halvings in the next 7 years. So today, 11,000 coins a day are produced to feed that utility demand of using it as a medium of exchange, as well as a financial battery for the store of value. And 7 years from now, there will only be 210 coins. It's probably not going to be as difficult to buy, as hard to use, as unknown and obscure, and generally met with skepticism because people think that it's a foregone conclusion that BTC is going to win the war in this case. Right. So,
Right.
I mean, just objectively, what's worth more, a token from the Golfland arcade that you can only put in the video games, or a quarter that you can spend at the snack bar as well as put in the machine to get a token and put it in the video game? Something is lost when you give up that fungibility, or you give up that universality. It used to be said that Bitcoin is the internet of money, and it was heading that direction. But now what we have is not an internet of money, a single seamless network. You have a patchwork of interconnected walled gardens. You have CompuServes and AOLs. The kimchi premium out in Korea means that Koreans who want to go between the KRW, the Korean won, and BTC get soaked for a 20% premium every time the market runs. Back in 2017, I had a friend in the Middle East ask me if he knew anybody who could fly gold bars between Afghanistan and Dubai to sell BTC for 40K. I mean, you don't have a single seamless market because BTC is not fungible. It's more like diamonds, where you need to evaluate each coin individually, because a coin that comes from a sketchy guy selling weed on the dark web is not as valuable as one that is freshly mined from a Canadian hydropower conglomerate. And that means you've got a 2-tier pricing and less efficiency in the middle.
So as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, Bitcoin and a pirate chain had a baby, it might look a lot like Epic. My question to you, and that may be wrong, but my question to you is, one thing that attracts me a lot about ARRR, I love it. It's probably, it's my largest part of my own personal portfolio, is that, poof, it's gone. It's disappeared. So if I took a Bitcoin right now and I went to TradeOgre and I exchanged it for ARRR and sent it to my pirate chest, for all intents and purposes, except for me, nobody knows where that treasure's buried. And if I ever put that back into
hold on.
yeah.
No. TradeOgre is a centralized service, and they know, and their logs, and whoever has access to their logs. So your metadata is leaking all over there when you use a centralized exchange.
Okay, that's now I'm learning. Okay, so I thought that I thought that once you took it off a trade ogre and you sent it to your treasure chest, that it basically, I mean, how in the hell would they know it's me? It's not KYC.
Deep packet inspection, the traffic between your computer, your MAC address, your browser fingerprint. The only way to have private transactions is to use stuff like atomic swap, or trade P2P. But even if you trade P2P, what messaging channel do you use to communicate your receiving address with the other party? The use case of extreme privacy applications, sort of like spy versus spy, darknet markets, nuclear secrets, you name it. Really quickly, you learn that it's not just about the anonymity set, and it's not just about the theoretical privacy at the one level. It becomes not a binary black or white type of situation, but an exercise in probability analysis and really shades of gray and judgment calls. I'll send you a presentation from Ethereum DevCon 4 from 2018 from one of the co-founders of Zcash. It's called Satoshi Has No Clothes: Adventures in Online Privacy, and he describes some of the different de-anonymization techniques that are used at the blockchain level. But then there's a whole host of other ones, and so really it's a nuanced topic. There's a lot to unpack there. All best served by everybody understanding whatever the limits are of the technology and appropriate use, and maybe when it's not so appropriate to use. And just we're all consenting adults, but let's be on the same page about what these networks can and can't do.
Okay, well, that just because I have to think about everything like a second grader. I just kind of thought that once you send it to Trade Ogre and bring it back, that it's poof, disappeared. And then if I send it from my treasure chest to yours, that nobody would know. If I then sent it from my treasure chest to, if I was able to ultimately get Monero with it, and I went and got a Bitcoin back on Trade Ogre. Now nobody, and then I sent that Bitcoin. Shit, I don't know. See, that's where I just this stuff just drives me nuts, because you start peeling back the layers of the onion and you realize how stupid you are.
Well, I mean, and I wouldn't even want to potentially comment on any details of any other stuff beyond my very civilian understanding. But Epic doesn't need to be private for from everyone for everything all the time. In fact, as we've seen from the IRS bounty of 625K against Monero, that stance can bring extra heat and cause all kinds of other problems. And so we're not trying to serve that particular market segment that really wants to get into the nuances of how all that works. We think about it as fungibility or lack of fungibility is just such a basic showstopper for broader adoption. For all this talk about DeFi, there's one crucial problem, which is that Wall Street wouldn't work if Goldman Sachs had to show its trading positions to Morgan Stanley. because
Right.
if you look at the dark pools and algorithmic trading, it's high stakes money, and the sharks are out looking for meals, and milliseconds matter. And so
Yeah.
solving for a lack of fungibility is really job one. And so with Epic, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And if you and I split a lunch bill, I can't see how much money you have and where you spend it. You can't see anything about me. Nobody else aside from us can see that we did anything. And even those oh so scary totalitarian types of forces can only tell that we had some data exchange between us, remember, because there's all these data footprints left all over, and true privacy is probably next to impossible for everyone this side of Edward Snowden. And so you get fungibility. Nobody can see anything. And unless you are one of the handful of most wanted people out there that really, merits some resources to have nation state level people come after you, then nobody's snooping on anything. And I think that the greater problem, for all the focus on, governments and regulators and banks and all this, the big problem is companies like Amazon that use your blockchain payment history to charge you $19.99 if they know you won't shop elsewhere, versus $16.99 if they knew they had to compete for the business because you don't shop around. They've got patented technology from years ago to do that type of stuff. But it gets even more sinister because Target's AI algorithms knew that a 15-year-old girl was pregnant before she did, and her father found out. Right? Imagine you're in Saudi Arabia and it's off with your head, or you're a political dissident. I mean, just, we deserve a free and neutral money internet that nobody can mess with. And the fact of the matter is that people can mess with your BTC today. You need permissions to operate. You have to trust people. You have to use custodial services, which expose you to counterparty risk. The network is getting more decentralized. Just like we use a lot of fax machines and dot matrix printers, and people still ride horses. I have no doubt that BTC will still be around 10 years from now, but it'll be 10 grand to send a transaction. That's not a bug, that's a feature if you look at who is calling the shots there and why. And so we need a true people's money that nobody controls.
That's true. When they talk
about rewards of where that.
That's true. When they talk about it going up to $1 million, perhaps. That's true. Nobody's also talking about how much it's going to cost to be able to send that $1 million to somebody else. It'll just be it's like that $1 million is as inflationary as the dollar, right? I mean, thinking
and it gets worse because the maxis, and I mean that in the sense of like always with wings. I've got a great meme I can send you. Somebody did a women's hygiene product called Maxis that I find quite fun.
I get it.
That's sorry, great. I lost my train of thought. It's getting late here, but yeah. What's next?
What's next? Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say. So lightning is not the answers. Maxis will say, oh yeah, lightning. No, first of all, lightning doesn't work. It's 18 months. And it always will be, always has been. If you want to look at time dilation attacks and the flawed economic structuring, it's a ham-handed, harebrained thing that just is never going to work. That dog doesn't hunt. People gloss over the fact that in a lightning channel, that's not truly Bitcoin. You've brought back in trust, permissionlessness, the money's off chain, you don't have sovereignty on it. So short, don't take my word for it, go to FreeU and study about this stuff and discover for yourself or learn for yourself. But lightning is not the answer. And when BTC is $1 million and it's 10 grand to send, then with your $40 that you bought for your kid on his second birthday, thinking he's going to go to college, well, yeah, maybe he will. But if it's that much to send, well, maybe it's going to eat up 40% of your winnings or whatever.
Mhm.
And then in South Korea, they go directly into your exchange wallet and debit your crypto accounts for taxes. And so I don't think of Epic as a privacy coin. I think of all this obsolete stuff that's out there as surveillance coins. That's really
Right.
how it
Okay.
is.
What are you going to do for my dopamine hits though? Because right now I can plug any coin that I have into my Coin Market Cap app or my my Blockfolio app, and I can see if I'm doing, like, if that 30 cents goes to 35 cents.
Uh-huh.
How do I tell the price? I mean,
It's just Coin Market Cap, CoinGecko. I mean, all the tracker apps have it.
they do?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so I'm here at Coin Market Cap. Let me add a coin. We're going to do this together, people. Okay,
It's
let me.
Epic Cash. There's some other Epic related stuff that died a long time ago, and every once in a
There
while
it
we
is. Epic Cash. And let me add, I'm just going to put one in there. And right now it's saying it is, well, you are doing better than Cumrocket, because Cumrocket is only down to 0.07. So it's 7.8 cents. And you are at 18 cents. So congratulations on beating Cumrocket today.
Funny.
Epic Cash. Okay, so it is at 18 cents. I thought you said it was at 30 cents.
Maybe it's a little soft right now.
It says down 29%. So let's go look at that. Well, everything else is down today. So
You know what it is? There's no trading in Vitex today. Looks like there was one trade at 18 cents for $6. So back after VTEX got back up, it was down there for a while. There was 140 grand that ran through one particularly fevered day. So with a grand total of a few grand, and that $6 trade, it's a very thin market. People don't want to sell. Back in March of 2020, Epic was trading under a penny, and we took a survey of the miners. There's 560 in our mining Telegram. It's at Epic Miners if anyone wants to jump in there. And so we did a poll, and we were from the vantage point of a penny, but we knew what we had. We took a poll. At what point will you start selling your Epic? When will you sell your first one? What are you waiting for? Because from the trading side, people were bitching that nobody wanted to sell. And they're like, the market is half a cent. Nobody will sell to me. Well, great. Raise your offer, you cheapskate. Duh, I didn't think of that. So trying to bridge that gap, we did a survey. And the options were 5 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents, $1, $5, $10, and 10 plus. And 61%, I think we got maybe 100 responses or something. So it was pretty statistically significant. 60%, I think it was, said not $10, but $10 plus. So these guys were counting on 1,000x from there. And back in March, when we hit $1.28, it looked like we might have been headed for a breakout, but then we had our trial by fire, our value overflow incident was quite traumatic for a young bunch of people. And in the time between when it happened and when we got through it, it was very tense. And so now there's a lot of people standing on the sidelines. Incidentally, Ethereum, the reason, I don't know if you know this, but the reason we have Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, by the way, if anybody holds Ethereum Classic, thank me later, sell it now and buy something else. So I don't care what happens to the price. Like it's really one of those so-called ghost chains. So there's a tip for a bit of alpha there if anybody's stuck with that dog. So anyway, the reason that there's Ethereum and Ethereum Classic is because there was a token startup called the Dow that got hacked, and the high priests of Ethereum decided to handle that by forking and essentially quarantining the hackers' funds as a way of saying, well, you know, in blockchain, code is supposed to be law, but here, no, what we say is the law. And certain people didn't agree with that. And now all these years later, we have ETH Classic, or same thing, a similar thing, religious rift between the BTC, BCH, and BSV camp, that people get very heated about these things. And so we faced a choice. There were essentially what happened is that the mining process is the scarcity enforced by the mining process is the key to the whole system having a value. And the attacker was able to cause a value overflow, essentially enabling unlimited minting. In 2010 in BTC, they minted 184 billion was the number.
Mm-hmm.
And after it was discovered, they fixed the bug and decided to roll back to the block before that happened. And that was what we elected to do. We did the exact same thing, in fact. But from $1.28 in mid-March, and we were just about to release the ECR token on March 28th, the attack happened. And so overnight, 8 months worth of mining production. So for a year, the thing is impossible to buy in any quantity at anything close to market price. People are paying premiums for blocks of larger tokens or coins on the market. And so all of a sudden, unlimited quantities are hitting the market, 50,000, 100,000. I mean, there was just unlimited numbers hitting. And before the trading was halted on the one DEX, that's the major venue, it was down to 4 cents. And so essentially what happened is the attacker got away with 6.6 BTC, which was about 400 grand in dollars at the time. And people thought they were buying 2.8 million Epic that didn't exist, because when the exchange synced up the chain, it took them about a month to get back online. Those tokens or those coins that they purchased essentially like disappeared from their wallet. And so 31 people that were impacted, and there was a large and vocal contingent of people that thought that the Ethereum example was appropriate for us, and that would it be okay to just make it 23.8 million coins rather than 21, and just like, oh, well, you know, they should get to keep them. It's a one-time thing. It's never going to happen again. Like, it's for a good cause. It's fair just this once. Look, Vitalik did it, so it must be okay. And it really turned into a quite contentious thing. And so we were able to better understand how the Bitcoin camp split into three, and the rivalries are so strong there. So we got through it, and to me, it proved the resilience, anti-fragility, and the signal property of our form of Bitcoin, which is extreme censorship resistance, because even a gunshot, a 50 cal gunshot wound to the head point blank didn't kill us.
Wow. so here I'm curious. So trading volume today is 7,423. Is that dollars, or is that number of?
Yes.
So that's number of dollars, that's dollars. So if I wanted to go plop down 10 grand in this, would it break the? Would that just drive the price up like crazy?
No, not like crazy. I mean, there's I'll send you a pic through Telegram. I'm sure you are familiar with the phrases FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and FUD. So back during the last boom, I got a license plate, a vanity plate, that said FUD FOMO, and it reminds me of this market. I haven't traded anymore since Epic launched because I'm just a dollar cost average accumulator. But back when I was doing the 2017 equivalent of the pancake swap mania type thing with the ICO booms and stuff, it was amazing because on Thursday, Mr. Market would be desperate to buy stuff. And then on Thursday, China would tweet something and oh my God, it's game over. Like everything from everything was from yesterday was forgotten. And the sky is falling. My hair is on fire. We're all gonna die. Please buy my thing at half off because I just can't take the stress anymore. And so the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. And these things tend to undershoot or overshoot in both directions on the FUD and FOMO side.
How many coins would Enrique and I need to buy to be whales in this coin?
Oh, I mean, if you bought 1,000 coins, that would really be a lot. I mean, even a couple $100 goes a long way. Yeah, the ownership is very dispersed. I mean, they're hard to mine.
I see. Okay, so they're hard to mine. So how many coins are there out there for sale then?
So 11.4 million are in existence, and all of them, everything is for sale at the right price, right? So the market just needs to find a clearing price at 30 cents, which was the number yesterday. What was it? Something like 10 grand worth changed hands.
Right.
So I mean, you can get fills. Patient accumulating is the strategy that really tends to pay off. I would highlight that the experience of BTC has shown that if you look at the first 10, 12 years of the market, the 10 best days represent something like 80 or 90% of the overall gain. So if you were sitting on the sidelines trying to time the market in that case, like being out of the market on those 10 best days, the one best day of the year means you're giving up 8 or 9 of every $10 of potential profit. Plus, as an active management strategy, it's much more bandwidth intensive and stressful versus a patient accumulating approach. So definitely dollar cost averaging is the way to go. And just set it and forget it type budgeting strategies of $10 a day or whatever the number is. You automatically buy more when it's down and less when the price is up, and get better execution. There's too low volume for the technical analysis and chart reading type stuff, a lot of which is voodoo anyway, to really be applicable, because without enough data, the models break down. And when it comes to data science, garbage in is garbage out. So, I mean, in the long term.
But all the YouTubers that have their thumbnails where their faces are like, and that and stuff, doesn't that impact? Aren't those the experts in technical analysis? Don't I have to work on my facial expressions to be taken seriously?
It as entertainment, there's a lot of high quality content,
Yeah.
but for making money, and probably not not actionable there. A lot of content creators in this space will take a position in the things that they tell their followers about, and then as they're breathlessly explaining why it's going to 1000x for them, they're the ones on the other side of the trade.
Yeah,
so there's
absolutely.
a lot of edgy edgy techniques, you could say.
Right. Understood. I'm you start to get that really quickly. But is there a way to where somebody can, when you talk about dollar cost average, do that easily to where you could set up an account somewhere and just say, hey, I want to be able to just kind of on autopilot go in and have $100 a day, buy these coins, or I guess that would need to be on an exchange. That's what.
I mean, historically, that's how people have done it. But as you were talking, it just gave me a great idea. Our model at Epicenter is as a fleet of ships that exist independently, but maneuver and together and cooperate to mutual benefit. And so it's like a flotilla of startups. And that reminds me, there was a guy in Germany that wanted to create a fiat ramp solution where you could do the $100 a day thing. I don't know whatever happened of that, but I can circle back around and check. Basically, our vision for Epic and its doppelganger EUSD is as a universal fungibility layer to connect literally every other circuit of value or value transfer network to it. So you got to get from Swedish krone to Botswana Pula. How are you going to do that? You got to minimize the hops and have the blockchain in the middle versus the aging SWIFT system that is error prone and could take 3 to 5 business days in some cases. And so really just until every bit of the world's money system is plugged in here in the right kind of ways, our goal isn't done. You asked about the incentive structure and the team and our commitment. So having been a pure volunteer squad at this point and doing it for intrinsic motivation plus whatever coin positions we have, now formalizing that into DAO structure, where there's some significant incentives. I mean, people need to pay the bills and not everybody has the flexibility in their life. And so as our early adopters become prosperous and personally post scarcity, it stands to reason that they'll continue to want to invest more and more of their time in what got them wealthy in the first place. We're investing in a lot of young talent and people like there's a Polish window joiner by trade that taught himself Python programming nights and weekends. And now he's got a gig making way more money as a full stack programmer for a startup that's got a business model that really wouldn't work if the chain didn't exist.
Wow.
So I'm sure somebody will plug that gap in time.
Enrique, I love you. Selling to noobs, buying in after the social media craze. He's saying we should be those people on the other side. Enrique, no, that's so this, I mean, to me, this just sounds like the perfect opportunity based on everything that I've heard for somebody who has a modest budget to be able to get into something special to where, you know, a little bit can go a long way from a long-term basis. So that's kind of cool. So I'm digging this. So, all right. 7, in the long run, will anyone really care about this crypto? And I had a VCR and Betamax and kind of example. The answer there, we don't even have to go into it, but it's one of those, it's more intended to try to ferret out shit coins, right? I mean, if you at some point, is anyone really going to care about SafeMoon 2.0? I mean, you know, you tell me. So you don't have to answer that. 8, how strong is the community? How strong of a community does the project have? And I have here, show me the Telegram, the Discord, YouTube, Twitter. How many raving fans are there? What's the development community like? What's the buzz? So it sounds to me like you have a pretty good community going on Telegram. I look forward to going and joining afterwards. And those are Freeman U, and then what's the other one? I have it on my notes somewhere, but I just want to.
Yeah, I'll send it all to you. So
the Epic, I think.
Yeah, so there's a bridge between the Discord and Telegram, so it syncs up the messages.
Yeah.
There's about 3,000 in Discord. That seems to have a lot of bots and come and go types, so maybe that's inflated a little bit. But there's about 1,200 on Twitter, 1,100 in Telegram, about 550 in the mining group, about 300 in trading, 80 in free EU. Then there's different language groups, Spanish, Russian, there's WeChat and QQ because they have Telegram blocked over there. There's Kakao Talk for Korea. So it's not like there's one big community with everybody in it. There's lots of independent
That's very cool.
venues. Yeah, because it gets to censorship resistance. When Wall Street bets got hot, Discord shut them down and Reddit
Right.
shut them down. And here, like, we're even kind of paranoid about Telegram. They're good today, but who knows in the future? Hell, Google's original motto was "Don't be evil," and now that seems just the height of irony that that organization could ever have uttered those words.
Are you familiar with Keybase?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But it's not as usable, you know, not as user friendly. It doesn't have the features, people don't like it. There's one called Matrix or Element that's 100% free open source, and we're in the process of primarily migrating to that because really we just want everything to be 100% free open source and not have any dependencies. I mean, even GitHub, we started on GitLab because we didn't like that Microsoft owned GitHub, but it turned out that just people really like GitHub, and there's a lot of reasons to kind of hold your nose and use it, despite the Microsoft risk. So I'll send you all those different links, and I think it's important to note that everything that's there is entirely organic. No bots, no shills, no airdrop bounty hunter type stuff. I mean, really, like we can go days and weeks without anybody new coming, and then some thing will flash across the wire and we'll get a few new faces. But really, having had a direct participation and often quite successfully in hundreds of these assets, often at the very earliest stage, I've personally never seen anything that has this, you know, it's the DNA of these protocols is enshrined at the beginning. And so if you get the design right, it can really scale. And if you don't, then it can be profitable for certain people along the way, but it's ultimately ill-fated and not sustainable. There's some stuff that we haven't gotten into in terms of addressing time preference and making it worth people's while to commit longer term at the DAO level around the singularity. And so we've got a long-term view, and that, you know, until every single person on the planet that uses money uses this as money, our job isn't quite done. And so it's going to be a lot of work for a long time.
You know what that's called? A BHAG. Do you know what a BHAG is?
A big, hairy, audacious gonad.
Goal. Yeah. Big, hairy, audacious goal. So that's awesome. You know, our job is done when everyone on the planet is using it. That's a BHAG. So that's excellent. All right. So you answered the community. The ninth one is, does your team have any period of lockup on the coins? And so that's just really, we're of course wanting to mitigate the risk of the proverbial pump and dump. Again, we're talking about, you know, shit coins. This is a shit coin trial. And obviously you're not a shit coin, but that is a question I think you'd agree that I should be asking some of these projects, right?
Absolutely. And so there is no free lunch in this world. And so get right to the heart of the matter in your interrogations and ask them, okay, did you do a pre-mine? Yes or no? Did you do any kind of fundraising, whether through ICO, IDO, IEO, anything O? Did they do a SAFT or a SAFE? Did they create a corporation, whether onshore or offshore? If you dig into that, I mean, even Ethereum, if the Ethereum deal happened today, it would be flatly illegal. And if it hadn't happened when it did, then it would have been stillborn at the regulatory stage.
Are blowing my mind.
Yeah, so the short answer is no, we don't have any period of lockup because we have no team coins. Nobody got any for free. Everything that
Great.
everyone has was mined or purchased on the open market. And so, you know, it's not appropriate for people that obtained their property, you know, whatever way, to have some restrictions on it. The whole point is to have a fluid currency that can seamlessly change hands. Incidentally, the block time is 1 minute, but it takes 2 seconds for the transactions to propagate into the mempool. And after that, they're irrevocable. So we think we can actually make a compelling case for the time benefit of settlement at a number of layers in the process versus other alternatives as well. So
You're gonna kick XRP's ass.
Well, so the only thing that we're not going to kick anyone's ass, but the Federal Reserve note is not fit for purpose anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so as it self-immolates, then we will be standing there to serve as a useful system of money.
Okay. By the way, I just dropped to the jurors in the chat a Zoom invite link, and so people are welcome to come on in and contribute. You can ask questions to Mr. Freeman. Looks like we just had someone join us, some admin guest with an A. So, hello, are you there? All right. So if you're going to click on the link, that means that you want to come join, not to listen in, but to contribute. So if you don't want to come and ask a question or whatever, no need to click the link and come hang out. But we do welcome you. So whoever just joined us, if you'd like to go off of mute and ask any questions, please do. If not, you can just hang there. That's fine. But I want to be respectful of time. And so it's open. Anybody have any questions? Enrique, you want to call in and talk about how you can become a whale? How you can pump and dump? No, this, from my perspective, Mr. Freeman, you have over-delivered on my expectations with your answers. And this is a hell of a project. And I'm telling you, as quickly as I can, get you, not tonight. I'm going to be too tired, but tomorrow I want to hook up with you, and I just want to really understand how to be able to get me some of these, because I'm in. I think that this is a worthy investment to, not bet the farm, obviously, but it just seems to me that a little bit can go a long way. And I'd like to be one of those people when it's, at $100,000 in a few years. I don't know. I'd like to be able to say, yeah, I got in at 30 cents or 18 cents or 20 cents or whatever it is. Why not us, guys? That's kind of it, right? But by the time it just seems by the time everybody gets excited about these coins, they've already mooned, and people have already, it's the people like we're at right now. So seems to me like it's a worthy risk based upon everything that we have heard tonight. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm super impressed. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. You've just been awesome. Are you still there? I think he.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I had it on mute. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just saying, it's been a pleasure and an honor to share your stage. And you don't even have to spend 18 cents to get your first coin. Just download the Beat wallet and shoot me your address, and I'll send you the first one for free.
How do I download the wallet?
Just Play Store or App Store on your mobile app.
All right, let me do that right now. Hold on. App Store.
It's VITE.
Okay, then.
And this little DEX is actually the coolest thing. It does proof of work on your mobile to create a DAG, a directed acyclic graph, that interfaces with their blockchain through a delegated proof of stake structure. I mean, it seems humble on the surface, but there's tremendous power to this Vitae blockchain and VTech system. Incidentally, other ways that you can buy. Someone figured out how to connect Epic to credit and debit card through Stellar. So you can buy XLM through a company called MoonPay and have it delivered instantly, and then zap that over to Stellar. It takes a couple of hops, but it gets the job done. And then also, so Pancake Swap is another one over on BSC. And then the one that I actually am most bullish about is, obviously we're a shrimp and PayPal doesn't care about us. They wouldn't be interested until we're top 10 or whatever. But using NFTs, we figured out a way to enable people to rent their rigs by the minute over eBay and get paid in PayPal. So from the buyer's perspective, you're like, I want to spend 20 bucks on coins. Where can I get them? If I go to Coinbase, they're going to make me jump through all these hoops and hold my money for a week and oops, service outage when the market's down, versus, okay, go to eBay, bang, specify my wallet, pay with PayPal. If something goes wrong, I have the buyer protection from both of those companies. And then, an hour later, or however long it takes for the coins to be mined, they just get directly zapped from the pool into the wallet. And so that, again, is entirely decentralized. It's not a single point of failure doing that. It's a bunch of people using common tools to create a decentralized PayPal rail. So the number of ways that you can exchange value in and out is really just like a fractal pattern before our eyes.
Tell me this: if I have 1,000 USDT, how do I buy it?
You have them on ETH or BSC, or where's your tether located?
It's on Coinbase.
All right. So what you want to do is on excuse me, on YouTube, there's a video called "How to Buy Epic Cash." It's 2 minutes. It's an animated short from one of our community members in Colombia. And it just walks you through step by step. What you would do is just withdraw from Coinbase to your ETH wallet on VTEX. And then because there isn't an ETH pair, you would swap the ETH into BTC and use that BTC to bid for Epic, and then you could withdraw your Epic into your.
Could I just make it easier and send a little BTC to?
Oh yeah, that would save a step. Sure.
Okay, so if I send a little BTC to, because BTC, it sounds like it's so yesterday, right?
So I mean, there's a place for nostalgic artifacts. I mean, like I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll bust out a clay tablet and a reed stylus. Papyrus is a wonderful material. So don't knock these proven tools. Horses have been a mainstay of transportation for humans for eons.
So I have my app open. It says create an account. When I create an account on this Veet app, how much of my personal information am I going to have to give?
None.
Okay. We like that. And then once I have that wallet, once it's in there, I could literally have an address in there that I could send some Bitcoin to, and then that BTC would be a trading pair to be able to buy some. And then this is where on my mobile phone where I would keep my coins. This would be my wallet.
Yeah, and just it gives you the seed words so that if you lose the device, you can restore it. Just put those seed words on paper, or better yet, on a metal plate, like we discussed.
Can I do that? Can I do this on my computer versus my phone?
You have to set up the app. You have to set up the wallet locally. I believe that was how it was in the beginning, but then you can navigate it from the web. So the reason that it gets that it's able to function without like requiring all the traditional hoops of a centralized exchange is that your local device is doing the proof of work on mobile to connect your local data store to the broader blockchain that synchronizes the ordering of transactions between all the users in the overall mesh. So yeah, we're in the stage of like in the early days of BTC, you had to send a wire transfer to a sketchy Japanese company called MT-Gox. And it took many years to get smoother and better. But Binance was the king until Uniswap came and knocked them upside the head. Uniswap 2.0 was revolutionary. Uniswap 1.0 was pretty close, but didn't really matter in terms of marketplace impact. And so you really can never predict which of these technologies is going to leapfrog ahead and be the winner.
Okay, so my question is just simply because I've liked doing everything on a dedicated computer that when I'm done with it, I just shut it down and it's not connected anywhere just because I'm being, overly anal about security. But so I haven't done anything except crypto.com that's on my mobile phone. So my question is, can I have my Exodus wallet on my computer? So instead of sending it to my cell phone, can I download this app somewhere on my Windows computer? Or is it just a mobile wallet now?
I don't know, but if you want to do it that way, then you can use MetaMask or any of the similar Web3 compatible browser plugins. I'm sure you've got one.
I have
that you're
MetaMask.
familiar with.
Yeah.
MetaMask. Okay, so you can use MetaMask on BSC to buy through PancakeSwap. That's another way.
Okay. See that? I know that should be so easy, and it's probably so easy to people, but I don't know if I've ever done that.
Well, we've got guides. We've got PDF guides.
Okay. I think somebody walked me through it once with my. so yeah, that's where my age starts showing. But I can do it from. So basically, I have this on. I'm downloading the app. It's going to be self-evident to me that I have a wallet in there for Epic. Is that right? Or that's right. Just okay. And then as long as I should be able to send some Bitcoin to this wallet to exchange for Epic.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty simple, right?
Yep. Just on YouTube, it's a 2-minute video, how to buy Epic Cash on Vitex. It's got a blue-green cap screen. But really, at Epic Cash Help Desk on Telegram, there's the people that are really, really stoked on providing the support. And so just whatever you need, any stage, there's usually people, Johnny on the spot, happy to help. So that's the best place for anything you need.
Awesome. Well, man, you knocked it out of the park, and looks like the jurors, nobody came in to be able to hammer you more because you answered all the questions before they're asked, and you did an awesome job. So this was great. This was very informative. The bar is set very high now for future guests. But I'm sold. I'm done. I'm gonna become a whale. I'm gonna arm wrestle Enrique, for who's gonna be the bigger whale. Nah, I'll put $1,000 in it, and we'll see where it goes. I think that's
well. And then let's make use of your platform and the a relationship that you've built with your audience and help help grow it. I mean, people that are listening to your channel probably also care very deeply about the type of things that we put this project together to be able to enable people to protect themselves financially. And so this has been great. And whatever we can do to get the word out there, you know, we're not marketing oriented, but if we do education, then it gets the job done, and
that's
hopefully
right.
it's more sustainable.
That's right. I'm happy. I'm happy to have you or anybody else on to just walk through something. I think that would be good to be able to say, to walk through the app, walk through some of your training. Let's do it on here and get people excited about this. And I'm just going to tell everybody, look, if you're, we're all adults. We make big boy, big girl decisions. And I will tell you that while my crypto career is young, I liked everything I heard tonight. And I think I'm not just throwing $1,000 at this, you know, I know that's a big deal in this ecosystem, but that's what excites the heck out of me, is that $1,000, I think, is going to be worth a lot. You know, let's just call it, let's give it 5 years to mature. Heck, you know, I'll be in my young 60s at that point in time, not even close to retirement. But it sounds to me like that could be that could be my best investment ever. This is so young. And the use case and everything that I've heard tonight is just so wow. And there may be people out there who will later comment. And I know somebody had mentioned, oh, well, the website's not very impressive. It has a bunch of dead links. So, you know, that kind of stuff, when you're a young bootstrapped company, that didn't pre-mine, that has no budget, you know, it's a lot of people. It's like this community. If we all decided to focus on a certain project and nobody's getting paid, you know, you're using good old fashioned sweat equity. So it's not going to be perfect, but the foundation, the basis, we went through the 9 questions and Mr. Freeman answered all of them exceptionally well. So I am declaring this, by the way, this is my gavel. Epic is not a shitcoin. It goes in the not shitcoin bucket. So Mr. Freeman, thank you for participating in this trial. You've been awesome. And I have a sneaky suspicion we'll be having lots of chats together over the course of the next year.
Can we take these handcuffs off? Would you bring the bailiff over?
Yeah. After I ask you the one question, you want to be the husband or you want to be the wife? If
the glove doesn't fit, if the shoe doesn't fit, you must have quit.
There you go. There you go. I'm not even going to finish my joke. Enrique will finish that in the chat. All right, everyone. I really appreciate you. Thank you guys for coming in and listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it. I think this will become a very profitable show for a lot of people. And I intend to put my money where my mouth is. This is I feel it is a highly investable coin. That's very impressive. So thanks for your time today. Thanks for being so prompt for taking on this challenge. And you rock, man. I'll be a big fan.
Right on. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Bye.